Welcome to Baja and World of X Games coverage of the Desert Assassins 19th annual moto adventure Rip to Cabo as we ride dirt bikes down the length of Mexico's peninsula.
One thing about Baja you can guarantee, no matter how much experience or how many times you've been here, is that it's going to be unpredictable.
My name is Cameron Steele and I've been a part of the X Games family since 1998. For the last decade, we have been sharing our tough moto adventure here on World of X Games for those around the world to enjoy.
What I would guess it's like going back in time in California or something like that, because everything in California, is built on. Down here, you go to the most beautiful beach in the world and there's no one there. It's amazing to take that time machine trip all the way down the Baja Peninsula and see what we see.
Baja is both beautiful and brutal. She makes the decisions and deals up her own unique set of challenges each time we put our gear on.
Different types of terrains, you're in the rocks, you're out of the rocks, you're on the street, you're back into the single track, and one moment you're in the desert, the next moment you're coming down some little small town, everybody's outside waving at you.
This year's ride will feature 41 riders roosting over 8 days for more than 1,300 miles off-road on our way to Land's End and our traditional arrival at the office. Please note, this is not a tour and we don't take the easy way. Get ready to enjoy Baja at our very best. This is the Monster Energy Rip to Cabo presented by Yokohama Tire.
Here the Rip started at Rancho Santa Marta, which is an orphanage and school that we support in San Vicente. We had been battling all kinds of weather reports with tons of heat, and then unfortunately there was some violence where we were going to ride through on the way first day, and we decided to trailer to Rancho Santa Marta for a different startup spot.
The Santa Marta Orphanage, which has really blossomed into one of the biggest schools/orphanage in all of Baja. They started off with just a couple small buildings a couple decades ago, and with the help of the Desert Assassins and the generosity of a lot of our riders, it's really grown into a full-blown compound.
It's really cool to see the impact that this group has on the orphan children in Baja.
No solid Baja trip begins without tacos, and our good buddy Juan and his son Juan Jr. from the store known as Acombro have driven an hour south of their home in Europan to feed the Rip to Cabo.
We sort of always have this shakedown effect that we call it, right? So nerves are high, people have prepped their bikes, people aren't prepared. One of our leaders, Andy Bonin, forgot his helmet. Like, how does that even happen?
You wake up early, you're trying to pack your stuff, you got all these guys asking for advice and what to do, and sometimes you forget stuff. Some people forget a helmet, some people forget other things.
A helmet is part of the ride, Andy.
I forgot my helmet.
Day 1 of 8 was shortened with trailering to the start at Rancho Santa Marta Orphanage and School, but the bonus is we get to start with a little single track known as Agave Dreams. Not really a tough trail, but for sure loose. Time to warm the boys up.
All right, guys, we're gonna have a good, nice little hill shot right here coming up.
Looking at the hill climb, it was a little bit intimidating, to be honest, because it's really loose, lots of marbly rocks. And when you're on a dirt bike, if you don't get it just right, it can be almost impossible to get up the thing. So a lot of guys, as they come out of the bottom, they kind of panic and they'll hit too much gas. That back wheel will start to spin out. And once that back wheel starts spinning, you're probably not gonna make it. Some guys then try to overcorrect that and maybe approach it too slow. Then they're running out of speed towards the top. And a lot of guys then will try to overcorrect that with their clutch, and you'll see that people are just falling all over the place. Now, of course, a few people can make it that understand this and can execute it properly. Sometimes knowing what to do and doing it are two different things.
Chris Johnson is one of 9 rookies on the trip in 2024. But we don't call them rookies, we call them fish. Fresh fish, that is.
Yeah, Chris Johnson from Colorado. Been riding motorcycles since I was 3 years old.
My name's JP Hilsebeck from Huntington Beach, California. I currently work as a firefighter paramedic for Los Angeles County Fire Department. Fresh fish, first time down here. It's pretty exciting. You know, it's you got, like I said, 50 guys on dirt bikes just blasting by each other. It's pretty awesome.
I'm Aaron Dosh. I'm from Shingle Springs, California, up in NorCal outside of Sacramento towards South Lake Tahoe. I'm a fresh fish.
Michael Lang, San Juan Capistrano, general contractor.
Second-year rider Matt Grant had some advice for the fish.
You know, I would take in every vista you see, every beach you come across, you know, all the trails that you get to ride, you know, really take it in and appreciate it because it takes a lot of time and effort and not many people get to experience this. So cross your fingers you get to come back because it's really special.
The one thing that's awesome about starting in San Vicente is we go right into some single tracks. It's fun, it's technical, and I think it's a good energy boost after driving the 4 hours south of the border.
Single track I think is so fun because it's technical, it challenges you a bit, and it's like forever changing, you know, it's kind of unpredictable, and whether it be rocky or turny or whooped out, you know, it's forever changing and just kind of like Baja, so.
Really for me, it's like a Jenga puzzle in my head the entire time because you're constantly taking that input of what the trail's giving you and cactus and ruts, and you're having to adjust to what the trail's giving you. So that's why it's a little more challenging than riding like a normal 2-track or fire road.
The crappy part of dirt bikes is that sometimes they hit the deck, and 14-year veteran Bobby Picoy went down at mile 48 of the trip.
My dad, Bobby, took a digger day one, never missed a day in his 15 Rip to Cabos.
You know, everybody crashes here and there, but for him to pull himself off the trail is very rare. He is a tough guy and super solid rider. He must be hurting more than we know.
Total bummer to see him sitting out, and one of the highlights of my trip last year was getting to roost with him because we don't get to do that together very often. So we met everybody, you could feel it, everybody misses him on the trail. But yeah, you know, good thing I got 35 other dads out there on the trail with me.
Tree lane to Heli Jim. Picoy's loaded, Chase is on the highway, all good.
Bobby will load into the Baja HQ Raptor with truck medic Ryan Chapin, and the trip will continue down the Pacific with beautiful views on tap. Sorry, Bob.
And riding along the bluffs of the coastline, it just gives you that refreshing that you need because I feel like we're so overstimulated day by day with technology and in our jobs and our lifestyles that you need a reset.
More importantly, it's just that attitude, it's that mindset shift that you make when you cross the border. And I think that's part of the mystery or the allure, the magic of Baja. Knowing that it's just sort of man and nature down here. And sure, we got some machines and some others to help out, but it's still pretty rough and raw. And there's just something primal about that that really makes a difference.
After a 91-mile warm-up, the motos catch up with the chase and support crews for some laughs and a banger Baja sunset. More Monster Energy Rip to Cabo presented by Yokohama Tires when we return to Baja. We had augmented Rip to Cabo day one due to heat, and now there is no avoiding it as we travel inland where temperatures will rise as much as 30+ degrees compared to the Pacific routes we have been loving.
35, 65 degrees.
We entered this canyon that was steep on both sides, had some wall ride. Being surrounded by, you know, canyon wall, and you're just flowing through, just trying to pick your line between a few rocks. You know, that kind of stuff, I have never experienced that before. Like, we don't see that where we're from.
Hey, Radiohead. On this single track we're gonna go into, there's gonna be a drop-off that some of you saw at Peak Bash. Your choice to ride or walk.
When you get to it, you kind of look over the edge and you don't think you could ride down it. A lot of the guys were like, which way are we going? That can't be this way. Dressing a little bit, like, obviously I don't want to walk down it, I want to ride down it, but I also don't want to crash right there on camera in front of everybody.
If you just track your bike down, it will roll right down. But still, I saw at least one guy like go too fast, hit the wall on the outside. Adam McCamish.
The preferred line is if you feel good about riding it down, ride it down. If you don't, let Panda do it.
And Dival sent it maybe a little bit too hard, kind of grabbed a handful of throttle and wheelied over.
Landed flat on his back, and it was like a cartoon when his water pack just exploded everywhere.
I think all that water probably saved my broken back.
That was enough for me, so I took a little alt line.
Matt Grant, he sights the outside line. He's been hopping down chutes on a snowboard forever. So he just goes on the outside and looks at it, goes, yeah, and just hops right off.
What drops down must eventually go back up. An old 2-track ends in an animal trail that presents a challenge when riders find the trail getting steep.
Keep it going, next guy go, next guy go. Keep that train flowing.
Each day we encounter some different obstacles. Sometimes that's a hill climb, sometimes that's a sandy wash.
We're cheering each other on, helping pull each other's bikes up the hill, you know, giving each other advice. You gotta take the left line, the right line.
It's always fun to kind of see the carnage of the whole crew, you know, the more guys that go through, usually the harder they get.
Then the next guy, go, keep it going.
Kind of people tear it up and spew rocks and jump huskies onto other riders.
A circus ensued as riders missed the cow trail and a couple ended up piling on top of each other on the hillside. RIP OG Rusty Espinoza shoots his bike at already stuck Randy Anderson. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and I can tell you though, there was a ton of crap talking afterwards.
But it certainly makes for good fun. We love it. We love sitting at the top and laughing at everybody tumbling down the hill.
The heat continues to increase, and we can't forget, this was the area we had all the meltdown issues with high temperatures 2 years ago.
445, 99 degrees.
You know, we've had like October weather just been superb down here, but we've had unseasonable heat, and so we've actually had to modify a lot of the routes.
When we're having to change all the logistics for the day, it creates all sorts of problems. Luckily, we have the Onyx app where we're able to, you know, share our information, create some new routes, and share it with the team.
And we have logistics set up with gas and prep and chase support, etc. But we also have to be flexible on the fly because anything that can happen and go wrong, like Murphy's Law, probably will. And so we're also able to sort of compress, shorten times, able to reroute pretty quickly.
Just to try to avoid the heat, because we've been in situations before where we've started melting guys down and getting these rocky canyons and so technical, and guys run out of water. And this year we were just trying to use our experience and still face challenges, because no matter what you do in Baja, as soon as you cross the border, it's an adventure.
The beauty of Baja is unlocked when the boojum trees and cardone cactus come together in the Never Never.
Yeah, I'd say my highlight so far, seeing some of those parts of Baja that you would never see from a vehicle, like just a car.
Cameron said there was like 8 different species of cactus, and the Sirius cactus, you don't see those anywhere else on the peninsula.
On top of that, you got all the cactus and all, like every little plant out here has got thorns on it, and you fall over or fall into one or hit one the wrong way, and like you take it in.
Seeing there's just a different type of cactus, how big they are, and going through with all the boulders and the cactus, it looks like it's straight out of a movie. If someone was gonna try and make something appear like it was this perfect desert scene, that's what we're riding through, and that's what really struck me.
It's such a beautiful area, and the trails are awesome. It's a little nicer when it's 70 degrees instead of 100 degrees, but hey, we'll take it. It is what it is. It's Baja.
The later afternoon light lets the cactus and their shadows pop. Thankfully, with our Baja Designs lighting setups, we are not worried about coming in after dark, which happens occasionally. The Monster Energy Rip to Cabo, presented by Yokohama Tire, is brought to you by Monster Energy. Yokohama Tire, available anywhere premium tires are sold. Raceline Wheels, go anywhere. Baja Designs, the scientists of lighting.
Is our count today, 3-6. 10:30 in the morning, 81 degrees. Heli Jim's fueling.
Copy.
All bikes clear the hotel and the dogs.
We left Catavina with a standard route that we've used in the past. Not a very long one, but Dave Wonderly is, I would say, probably right now, the most switched on wanderer of Baja. So we rode something that he sent us, and it was a tight, technical, I'd call it Dave's Cactus Trail, but every trail is Dave's Cactus Trail when you're hanging out with Wonderly. Suddenly got into all these gnarly jumping cholla and just these cactus balls, and it's really deceiving because you're weaving in and out of cactus and other bushes. You get lulled into thinking that, okay, that's not a cactus, that's not a cactus, and then you're like, oh, that is a cactus, and you're like, whoa, pulling the hand off. So yeah, there was a lot of cactus extraction going on.
The cactus don't discriminate, and even 11-time Baja 1000 champion becomes a pincushion.
Aaron Goodman had his cactus pick, working overtime on that trail.
Around the Catavina area, I always keep my tweezers and my pliers and my pick close. I use the pick on a few arms for the cholla.
Dave's Cactus Adventure, yeah.
Rip OG Rusty takes a little assist from medic Aaron Goodman. Getting near the coast again gives us some relief from the heat, but also brings us to our planned live time with George Hamill and his Starstream Pro setup. Yes, live dirt biking with Johnny Campbell, 11-time Baja 1000 champion, is happening.
Me, George Jetson, his boy Elroy.
Yeah, technology is advancing, and in Baja we've been able to use some new technology that's bringing in actually a live stream feed while we ride. I was able to wear this backpack with the Starstream on it that was able to capture us live while we're riding in action, side by side down a coastline.
Miles and miles from anywhere. I mean, we are literally in the almost middle of nowhere.
We have cameras and satellites that we're taking with us, but trying to find some really interesting places that we could bring everybody else along, and not just watching it later, but in real time.
This is new technology, and I'm excited about it, and it's, we're going to be able to, in the future, bring a lot more of what we do in the middle of nowhere to you live.
He is not broadcasting. They're going to rip down the beach quite a ways. If you go out to the beach, you can shadow them down the beach. Copy that. I think that's the plan.
We came off the beach, went into a Grande Vista, super rocky trail, start off with a little bit of a hill climb into a bunch of rocks. And they're all just like small little boulder size, and all it takes is hit one rock and you're gonna toss your bike, which a bunch of guys did. And on top of that, you got all the cactus and all, like every little plant out here has got thorns on it, and you fall over or fall into one or hit one the wrong way, and like you take it in.
Baja is unforgiving. You're out here in these desolated areas where you're far from help, and there's so many things that can go wrong, whether you're getting bodied by cactuses, baseball-sized plugging in your arms, whether you're going down on the terrain or whether you're just overheating out here. It gets really hot and it's challenging, and there's These bikes aren't light, so you're working really hard, and yeah, I mean, there's so many dangers to be had.
The juice in this case is worth the squeeze. The beautiful vistas designed by master trailmaker Bill Nichols in coordination with the local animals and the big guy upstairs, the boys take in the views, not knowing that the silt beds lay just down the hill.
The silt beds are gnarly, they're challenging. Why? Because, you know, you're running through this stuff that's like powder, like baby powder, peeling off your front wheel, but it's hitting your boots and knocking your feet off the pegs, and you're just struggling through it, and you don't know what's in the bottom because sometimes it feels like it's almost bottomless.
It's tough sometimes when the camera's on the other side of the silt bed. You gotta wake it up a little bit. So that's where you can get yourself in trouble if you end up on the ground pretty easily in a silt bed.
Hey, any trucks copy, Cameron? Good. We need a truck for Bonnet's bike to go in.
An airbox assembly issue is going to help Panda earn the Donkey Award, after also forgetting his helmet earlier in the trip.
It's just one of those moments, just a sinking feeling that, you know, I might be done for the trip. You know, I don't know if there's gonna be another bike we can, you know, I could borrow, or, you know, can we fix this bike? Is it beyond repair? And unfortunately, that's what we kind of determine. It's kind of beyond repair down here with the parts and tools that we have. It's a tough situation to be in on day 3 with you know, a lot of time ahead of us. Unfortunately, I had to get towed out of the trail, got to a truck, and had to load up the bike. And you know, hopefully there's some way I can keep going.
A Bluebird Day greets day 4 of the Monster Energy Ripped Cabo presented by Yokohama Tire. Today by highway, San Ignacio is about a 2-hour trip, but by Ripped Cabo plotting, it's about 10 hours. Let's do this.
It's a beautiful morning.
You know, we're leading into day 4, and it's been tough. A lot of adversities and difficult trail challenges, and we've lost like 3 guys. You know, these are all veterans. They know how to mind themselves and don't ride over the head. You know, it's one of the things we come down to Baja for, is we come down here to challenge ourselves spiritually and physically on the bike, and sometimes stuff happens.
Cameron, Chase, passing KM 245. It is 10 a.m. Temp is 92 degrees.
Our Panda was lucky enough that Bob Picoy had brought an extra bike, so he's back on the trail.
That's definitely more like it, Bonnet, seeing you on that red bike.
What an epic experience it is for the entire group to be a part of the Grants being able to ride as a father-son duo.
Being down here with my dad is incredible. You know, I feel very fortunate to be able to do that with him, and banging bars and sliding into corners while Heli Jim's hot on our tail is really surreal. I don't think many people could say they've gotten to do that, let alone next to their dad. It's a memory I'll have for a lifetime.
First part of the trip's been really good. We're pretty much halfway point right now. We've got about 120 miles out ahead of us today, and we're cruising. So far, so good. No big accidents, a couple bike failures, but everybody's been jamming, and good lunches, and good crowd, good group of riders. Stoked that we're at where we're at.
It was kind of a treat to get out there, and it was a beautiful beaches. The waves were going off.
The whole area had so many cool waves. We were all drooling over them. I think most of the guys on the trip are all surfers. Great spot for lunch. Pretty cool to watch the heli land right there on the cliff, right next to the water. And it was this awesome little point with this blowhole, and just, it was an epic day.
Moss, always number 110, has been hosting Rip to Cabo since its inception in 2006. He's quite diversified for a Baja moto rider.
My name is Mark Moss. I'm from San Clemente, California. I have been riding dirt bikes down here now for about 2 decades. And this trip now has been going on for 19 years. I have 2 daughters. They are 15 and 20. And so basically, as long as my kids have been alive, they've been coming down to Baja every single year, chasing bikes, seeing us arrive down into Cabo. So it's more than just a ride, it's like part of our family. The famous question, what do you do for a living? I mainly talk about business and finance. I have a nationally syndicated radio show I've been doing for several years on iHeart Network. I have a pretty big podcast and YouTube channel that I run. And we do millions of views a month talking about business and financial information. I think that everybody should try and be the best version of themselves. I don't know why they're not. And so if I'm gonna be a dirt biker, I wanna be the best dirt biker. And if I'm gonna be in business, the same as well. But mainly just trying to change the way people think.
The coastal routes the locals drive are perfect for beautiful, low-stress moto riding with a view. The Monster Energy Rip to Cabo presented by Yokohama Tire has been brought to you by Monster Energy, Yokohama Tire, available anywhere premium tires are sold, OnX Off-Road, VP Racing Fuels and Lubricants, Welcome back to the Monster Energy Rip to Cabo presented by Yokohama Tire.
Today we have a long day ahead of us. I don't think we've ever left San Ignacio and got into Loreto before dark. Today is going to be mostly a series of 2-track. We're going to stop in San Juanico, Scorpion Bay for lunch, which is always a fan favorite. And I think there's a little bit of swell in the water, so hopefully we see some waves. From there, we're gonna cross over to Loreto, which is in the bay on the Gulf side.
There's a fascination with dirt bikers and that dang front wheel. It's a bitter pill for most that are not wheelie capable. It's not an easy stunt, but for those that have some skill on the rear wheel, the endless salt flats are a temptation that is hard to pass up, even with the white and black ice that lurks in this area.
Yeah, Chris Johnson from Colorado. Been riding motorcycles since I was 3 years old. Yeah, first year, it's been incredible so far. A good buddy of mine, Andy Kripe, got me on the rip. Day 1, my bike broke. I took a rock right to the water pump and completely smashed the water pump.
There's the evidence. Just rock came off with the front wheel. Pow!
We got it fixed a little bit on the trail, but I had to get pushed out the rest of that day. And then Johnny Campbell luckily had a whole assembly that we got it replaced. So yeah, there's no way you could do this just on your own. Trying to, just pace myself and be a little bit conservative, but make sure, still have fun and push hard in the fun sections. Looking forward to seeing all different types of riding. Feels like every kind of like half day has been a whole new world of terrain and, riding style. So really looking forward to what we see the rest of the way.
The cruise through the salt flats and the graded roads, the first 100 miles or so on the day, were what we call easy. While still on roads, the rocks and vertical walls of the Sierra de la Giganta mountain range on the way to Loreto is far more challenging.
The trail from La Prisma to Comandou up and over to Loreto is probably one of the hardest rock trails or roads in Baja. It is unforgiving and constant, probably for 3 hours, and your forearms are on fire, bikes are taking a beating.
Yeah, we were smashing and bashing out there for quite a while, headed into Loreto. You know, fast terrain, but all these rocks that, you know, will humble you pretty quick. A lot of square edge stuff, a lot of vibrations. I think everybody's knees and feet and wrists were feeling it. Yeah, it's relentless stuff, but it's fun and keeps you sharp, so it's good stuff.
Occasionally we'll stop into different spots and we'll meet locals or people that are even transplants. Like our buddy Jeff, he's from Canada, but he owns a luxury hotel, a UTV tour company, moto tour company, and e-bike tour company right in one of the most beautiful towns in all of Baja. And he wanted to share some trails with us. And unfortunately it was super hot out.
Super loose, rocky single track that we don't get much. The looseness of the terrain, it was just super small rocks, kind of almost like lava rock, you know, when it breaks up. People were struggling with the heat. There was no shade whatsoever. When you're waiting for the other guys to go up the hills, you were just baking in the heat. And it was super humid over in Loreto.
I bet it was 90% humidity and 105 degrees.
It was hard and hot. We had some people start bonking out.
So we called it off. We were like, okay, we're out of here. And the good part of that is that led us right into the San Javier Mission, which is one of the most amazing places on the peninsula. So we did some hard dirt biking for about 3 miles, and then we went and saw the mission.
Known as the jewel of the Mission Trail, San Javier is 20 miles up the giant canyon west of Loreto. Its centuries-old olive tree is rumored the oldest in the Americas. The Spanish are said to have brought glass pane windows, farming, religion, livestock, and language that still exist in Baja today. The massive and rugged valley leading to San Javier must have been a huge challenge to navigate in the 1700s.
It is 12:37, 91 degrees.
What is now a mostly graded road does occasionally get destroyed during large hurricanes, but it was in great condition for Rip de Cabo's transfer to the west coast.
Mangroves are always fun. It just, I think it kind of livens people up, you know, and gets us going. Two-track can be mundane down here in the south end because you're kind of getting point A to point B, but once you get in the mangroves, you feel like a kid again and you get going and kind of race each other and just have fun. You're screaming in your helmet and high-fiving afterwards. Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know, it's something you kind of look forward to on a dirt bike.
The upwelling of moisture in the ground near the mangroves makes for less dust and tacky sand conditions, epic for dirt biking. It's always a favorite section for roosting, and even though we tell the guys to be cautious at all times on Rip to Cabo, they seem to feel like it's a good time to moto with their buddies in the mangroves. After 7 days, the boys are ready to bang a little, and a few of them act like it's open practice at the local moto track.
Yeah, just flowing through the mangroves. I just had marked a corner, so I had some room to make up in clear air, so I got pretty stoked and came around a corner where the Raptors were and the camera was pointing, and yeah, I ran out of talent. I didn't really make up my mind on which line I wanted and pushed the front end a little too hard and took a little face ride on the dirt.
Not just the motos are out on Rip to Cabo. There are 9 chase trucks, and the Baja HQ Raptor has medic Ryan Chapin putting the Yokohamas to work on all dirt surfaces other than the single track.
Rip to Cabo effort is not the easiest thing to do.
The chase crew is the backbone of the trip, right? The riders get all the glory, but the chase crew is with us for 8 days down the peninsula and driving home for a few days with all the bikes and all the gear.
All of the logistics, the helicopter, the chase trucks, catering crew, fuel stops.
It's a point-to-point event. It's like we're going from hotel to hotel.
Camera calls it the circus, but it's a logistical nightmare to get fuel, food, water, all ready and prepped, and guys count on it because we've had it for so long.
We got the crew on overtime all the time, right? Ping, ping, ping. I mean, Corey and Paul and Nar have been doing this quite some time, and they're really switched on. They know what's going on. You know, having Nar to work on the bikes at night for some of us crew guys, and you know, he's an expert Honda tech for the JCR Honda days.
You know, these guys they're just dedicated, and we really couldn't have the adventure or the experience on this trip without great support.
DA Raptor is on the group and on the move.
Welcome back to the Monster Energy Rip to Cabo, presented by Yokohama Tire.
We've got a little bit of an audible today. We don't have a track log, but one of the regular Onyx users has a track log to where we're gonna go to lunch. It's only about 2.5 miles after the trail starts to that left turn, but you guys have that on your Onyx also, so CMOS has it too. I'm pretty impressed with the Onyx app, I gotta tell you. It far exceeds my expectations. Onyx Off-Road, you go in, you can load your trails, and then you can follow them, you can scale them, you can check the mileage, you can check the distance, it shows elevation gain. But overall, it's just so easy to use, and still I'm blown away that you can have the tracking when you have no service. And that's the most amazing part, because all over Baja, we have no cell service.
Let's do it, let's ride. It's 8 o'clock, let's go. Yeah. Time to party.
As we close in on 20 years of Rip to Cabo in 2025, few have been as involved or as influential as our chopper pilot, Heli Jim. He's been with us since 2008.
My name is Jim McCoy. I'm a helicopter pilot from San Diego, California. I've been flying helicopters for about 20 years now. So not only are we here to do film work and stuff like that, we also help out on the trail. Either it could be safety for, you know, air medevac if we got to fly somebody out of there. We also help with routing the guys through trails. Some of these trails they ride, they disappear, you can't see them, but from the air I can see it clear as day, and so I can talk to them and let them know which way to go.
Did you get that one, Heli Jim? I got it. Attaboy.
There's no other experience that I know of where you can have a chase helicopter with a giant camera on it buzzing right over the top of you while you're riding. I mean, maybe for pro riders and racers, they're used to that stuff, but for us weekend warriors, we're not used to helicopters flying over the top of us with the cameras, so it's a pretty cool experience.
It's always challenging flying down here. You know, it's hot out, we're very remote. I think on the first 2 days, we were hindered by clouds along the coast and stuff like that. But we just do the best we can and fly safe and make sure we have a good time.
I was riding next to Kyler, and we were hauling butt down this silty road, you know, sliding through corners, and you just knew that the dust behind you from the silt was flying, and when you see the helicopter is just following you, knowing he got the shot, it's just a good feeling because, you know, bangers are epic.
Shout out to Josh Metzger for capturing banger shots from the heli all day long.
As a kid, when you're, you know, have this dirt bike dream, like, and then now I'm 43 years old and living it. There's a helicopter flying next to me with a camera. For some reason, he wants to film me in that moment, but, you know, it's just like the coolest thing.
You know, over 15 years, it's kind of getting, you know, you get used to it, but still, you think back, like, how lucky am I to be down here doing this?
The Rip to Cabo is not just a dirt bike ride. The Rip to Cabo is about getting the family together, the DA family, and going out and accomplishing something together.
All bikes are off the turn.
Riding bikes to Cabo seems pretty crazy for most people. To think about 8 days, I mean, almost 1,500 miles of some of the rockiest, roughest terrain, and it is. Super challenging, overcoming the odds.
Kind of feels like a calling, right? Our call out for Baja HQ is share the stoke, and I really believe that each time we come down here, we are sharing the stoke, the people, the vibe, the food, the legacy, the history of the Baja Peninsula. And I love that. That's why I do it. I love sharing it.
All the riders on the Rip come from all different areas, all different walks of life. And out of all of them, Cameron probably has the best day job. He's a trophy truck racer.
Good news is that the sun is starting to pop over the mountains here in Johnson Valley. Today we will be announcing that the Desert Assassins are joining Yokohama. We're gonna blow up some berms and we're gonna have a great time racing Baja on the yokes and finish the job we started.
All right, here we go. Camera speeds in 3, 2, 1, action.
Not just a trophy truck racer, he's a Baja 1000 winner. He's got a bunch of other accomplishments and championships and off-road racing under his belt. I mean, Cameron is the real deal down here in Baja. I would say there's probably nobody that knows the Baja Peninsula as well as Cameron does.
Being able to learn many desolate locations through my day job and having traveled Baja since 1973 has afforded me the passion to share Her Majesty through Rip to Cabo.
Be there with the 40 guys driving bikes through the town of Cabo and to the office is an experience like no other.
So all of a sudden you come over the ridge right by the bridge and you can see the arches right there, and then all of a sudden you just have that feeling of like, yes, you've made it. And already we're still on the highway and you got fists pumping, everyone's excited, bikes are being revved up.
I mean, it's like you're a bunch of gladiators being welcomed after battle. I mean, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's incredible.
Now it's turned into like a fiesta for the town. And so literally as we're coming down the street, they have the street blocked off. They got the Papel Picado over the top. They got people blowing conch shells and throwing rose petals and mariachis playing.
The exhilaration and the relief of arriving at the office and to Edith's welcoming party and the city embracing us, closing the street down, and the pageantry. You just come in and it's like, and I realized that right around the corner is gonna be my family, and you know, seeing Edith, it like brings tears to your eyes. This year I surprised her. Lee from Bahia and Sur brought me some roses for Carmen and Edith. They've been such a huge part of growing the traditions here in Cabo that I just can't imagine doing it without them. They've been spectacular.
It's always a very emotional experience to see that when you pull in there, because usually your wife's there waiting for you, your kids are there waiting for you. Everyone is super pumped to be there, but at the same time, you're a little bit sad because that means the ride's over.
I always say it's more than a dirt bike ride. It's a trip of a lifetime every time. And that's because to go out there and be remote and secluded, and you're just with your band of brothers, you're overcoming the challenges the Baja throws at you and experiencing the beauty and the majesty of it. To show up at Land's End and have that welcome, the relief is massive, but just that emotional attachment. So my family's been coming to Baja since I was born, and I'm super attached to the peninsula, and to have that kind of open arm welcome from people that love their town of Cabo, and yeah.
It's overwhelming each time we accomplish this goal of riding to Cabo, safely arriving to our families and sharing the love. In 2025, we will celebrate 20 years of Rip to Cabo and honor our brothers that are no longer with us. I can't wait.